Hi, I'm Nan Simonson. I made a deal with myself, and that was about 4 years ago when I went whole food plant-based, that I was going to fall in love with the food that loved me back. And I have. As a matter of fact, that's all you'll see me offer on my cooking channel. I'm a lifestyle medical coach, and I help people get healthy, live long, disease-free, and it's the food, it's the food, it's the food. So I found this recipe, and it was from plantu.com, a Instagram post. Took 2 seconds, and everything I saw I loved. So I thought, I'm gonna make it. I can't follow those things when they're that fast. You might not be able to either. So I'm gonna show you what I'm doing because I'm making it for dinner tonight. I have a head of cabbage. You know, I see cabbage in the store all the time, and I think, what am I gonna do with it? It can be so boring. This is so cool. I am cutting cabbage steaks. Gotta have a sharp knife because the poor thing doesn't want to be cut. And I'm laying these steaks on a, what we call a jelly roll pan. Some people call it a cookie sheet, but when it has sides like that, it's officially a jelly roll pan. And I'm putting my steaks down on a piece of parchment paper. It just makes it easier to clean, and I don't grease things because I don't typically do not use oil in my cooking at all. If you listen to any of my healthy living podcasts, you'll know why. It does make a difference. And here's another steak. This wasn't as large a head of cabbage as I had the first time I made this. So I'm getting fewer steaks, probably one fewer than I would have. But you know what? That's just fine. And I'm going to put this little piece because I don't want to waste a thing. And because it's so thin, it will be cooked more to a softer degree, but that doesn't matter. Okay, this is so interesting and so wonderful. So I have a little pan here, and I'm adding my own homemade broth. I make my own low sodium veg broth. There, you can see that. So I've added veg broth, 3/4 of a cup. I'm adding nutritional yeast. Tell me I didn't do this. I did do this. Oh man, oh well. And I'm gonna add the nutritional yeast. Can and should be added at the end. I'm gonna sprinkle more at the end, and that's what I'll do to take care of that. So don't do what I just did, but I don't wanna do it again. All right, I have parsley, I have paprika. You can use smoked paprika, you can use sweet paprika. I used half and half because I didn't want it too smoky. But I wanted it somewhat smoky. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. If you are SOS free, don't use any salt. You really have a lot of flavor from this. I put in minced garlic, and the thing that makes it kind of hold together, I don't use oil, but I do use fat in my cooking. And the fat takes the form of whole food fat. What is sesame, or what is tahini? Tahini is sesame seeds ground up. When you buy them in the jar, sometimes there'll be some fat floating on top. Some people throw that away. I mix it in because it's what I would have gotten if I had eaten the sesame seed itself, and it's a healthy fat. And I'm going to mix all of this up, and then I'm going to spoon it over these. So it's kind of a slurry. In that, I have bits of everything, and I liked it when I made it the first time. I liked that I had bits of everything. I'm going to step over here and grab a larger spoon than I brought to spoon it over. So we have tahini, again, sesame paste. You can brush this over Or you could do what I'm doing. I'm spooning it over. My oven is heated to 375 because I have it on convection. If it wasn't a convection oven, or if I didn't have that option, I would have heated it to 400 degrees. Okay, so you buy a head of cabbage, you slice it into steaks, put it on a pan, put a sauce over it, and the sauce, what was it? It was broth, tahini, some fresh parsley, some dry parsley actually as well, paprika, garlic. It's going to be interesting to see, and if I leave it in the recipe this way, you'll know I liked it. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that nutritional yeast left in the recipe like that. I'm going to scatter over this. Oh, be careful. Very lightly. Not part of her recipe, but we like spicy. So this is chili flakes. And then, okay. And then, oh, wait. Let me show you nutritional yeast. This is how I buy mine. I use so much of it. Some people call it nooch, N-O-O-C-H, nutritional yeast. I buy it this big, this much at a time online. This one happens to be New Naturals, non-fortified. Why would I use New Naturals? Why would I use unfortified? Only one reason. Because I have something called an MTHFR gene mutation. And that means that I don't assimilate folic acid. It won't go into my cells. Folate does, but not folic acid. Folic acid is a chemical copy of folate. And folate's in food, folic acid is the supplement people use to add to it. Well, I can't do that. So I get non-fortified. If you get fortified, and that's where you find it. That's where you find it almost always. That's even less expensive than this. You're gonna get a lot of vitamins, minerals, including vitamin B12. And that's a good thing because if you're plant-based, it's one of the things you wanna add to your diet as a supplement, even though I don't believe that we need a lot of supplements, that's one you can. So you saw that I already used nutritional yeast. I put it in the broth because I was talking and not thinking, and it goes on top. Now, what does this do? It gives an umami. Umami meaning it's, you have salty, you have sweet, you have bitter, you have bitter, you have sour, and you have umami, taste buds. Well, umami is the thing that's kind of subtle, that's savory, that's almost non-descriptive, and it's marvelous. And now I'm adding some chopped peanuts. Now, some people who are watching their weight very carefully don't do a lot of nuts, and they don't do a lot of fat, and they'll think, well, there's already tahini in here, maybe I won't do the nuts, but I'm fine with this, just a little bit. This is 1/4 of a cup, and there are, what, I'll call it 6 steaks, make these 2 1, and I eat 1 steak at a time, so I'm gonna be fine with that. All right, this is gonna go in the oven, that's it, that's as easy as it is. I'll pull it out in, I believe it's 30 minutes. And then I'm going to sprinkle over it maybe some more nutritional yeast, but maybe not because I've already kind of really nooched it. And I'm going to sprinkle over a little bit of lemon and maybe a little bit more fresh parsley. Goes in the oven right in the middle. 400 or 375 if you have a convection oven. And I wanted to show you what I'm going, oh, you know what? Actually, I want to do that now. I want to sprinkle over it some balsamic vinegar. And this is what I use. Napa Naturals, there's also California balsamic. Napa Naturals Grand Reserve is a 4% balsamic as opposed to the very liquidy, rather tangy and tart balsamic that's 6%. This is 4%. And if you get California balsamics, you'll find the same thing. And California balsamics have a lot of marvelous flavors, like a hickory smoked and a fig and on and on. Well, I'm going to spread some of this on because the balsamic gives it a tangy marvelousness. And I may even give it a little bit more. There we go. Now look. Ta-da. Okay. Now I'll put it in the oven. It's going to be in here for 30 minutes, maybe 35, if when I touch it with a fork, a spirit, it's not quite as soft as I'd like it to be. So that's it. You'll be seeing pictures at the end of the video. I hope you like what you saw, and I hope you try this because PlantU.com came up with a real winner here. I'm Nan Simonson. I'm wishing you a great day because I know I'm going to have one. Bye-bye.